Hello and welcome to Chalk Talk, your source for Buckeye Athletic news, updates, and analysis. I'm Maddie Spielman alongside with Andrew Todd Smith. Andrew, we had a lot going on this weekend. Can you give us a little preview of what happened?
Certainly, yeah. We had wrestling. Columbus hosted the Big Ten Championships. We had men's basketball action. Women's basketball headed to Illinois for their Big Ten tournament. And we had a little bit of a dicey situation with the men's tennis team. So lots to cover this week.
Yeah, well, actually the top headline of the week is that the wrestling team officially a conference champion, first title since 1951, long overdue. They're actually the co-champion after hosting the tournament over the weekend and tying with Iowa for a share of the Big Ten championship with 120 points apiece. Andrew, can you tell us a little bit about what happened during this match and who kind of stood out to you?
Sure, yeah. The 4 Buckeye wrestlers, obviously there's 10 weight classes. Now 4 of them qualified as finalists. The Buckeyes would go 2-2 in those first place matches. So Bo Jordan, poor guy, 165-pound weight class, had to go up against his cousin, Isaac Jordan of Wisconsin. He would lose a 3-2 decision there. And then Kyle Snyder, the captain of this team, despite being a freshman, 197-pound weight class, he lost a 4-1 decision to Penn State's Morgan McIntosh. So getting back on a positive note.
Bright side, what happened?
Exactly. 125-pound weight class. This was a great story. So Nathan Tomasello, semifinal matchup, a little more compelling, you could argue, than his title-winning matchup, because who was he going up against? Jesse Delgado of Illinois, the 2-time defending individual national champion. He wins a 3-2 decision in the waning moments, able to get an escape and a takedown. And he takes it at the end of the third period. The crowd goes wild, really sparking the Buckeye team momentum. But Logan Stieber, familiar name.
Surprise, surprise, he made it to the finals, right?
Exactly, yep. 141-pound weight class, still perfect on the year. He got a 16-1 impressive technical fall over Josh Jeva of Iowa, and in so doing became Ohio State's first ever 4-time Big Ten champion. And he also was voted the most outstanding wrestler in the Big Ten for the entire regular season, as well as taking home Outstanding Wrestler of the Championships honors as well. So Ohio State and Iowa, co-champions, first time that's happened since the 30s, a tied champion atop the standings there. But yeah, nice, exciting wrestling event taking over St. John Arena this past weekend.
Seriously, well, congrats to them. And actually, head coach Tom Ryan got Big Ten Coach of the Year as well. And 9 wrestlers qualified for the NCAA Championships in St. Louis, taking place March 19th through the 21st. The Buckeyes pursue their dreams of clinching their first ever team national title. Speaking of Big Ten postseasons, women's basketball competed in their conference tournament over the weekend. And Andrew, kind of what happened during this? I know there was a toss-up of who they were going to play, and who did they end up playing?
Yeah, so consistent with what we talked about last week, that 6-11-14 toss-up with the new bracket. Yeah, so they were the 3 seed. They did enjoy that double bye. We discussed that. And they got 6 seed Minnesota on Friday night. They beat them handily, 83-71, no problem. They go on the next night to take on Iowa, a team
Tough team, right?
Yes, absolutely. 2nd seed, a team they beat here in Columbus impressively, but this is a neutral site. All bets are off. They did get the better of the Hawkeyes in overtime, 91-85, and that put them in the conference championship matchup against Maryland, the reigning regular season champions, and trying to make it a twofer. The Terrapins led the Buckeyes by as many as 15 points. And Ohio State's comeback bid fell just short. Kelsey Mitchell, she misses a potential game-tying, overtime-forcing 3-point buzzer-beater attempt. So that's a brutal finish there. But congratulations to them, runners-up in the conference. And you upset the number 2 seed. That's something to be proud of. So freshman Kelsey Mitchell, we talked about her last week. She had scintillating performances in the tournament, and she and Alexa Hart, the forward, were both named to the all-tournament team. So
pretty impressive for both freshmen, right?
That's what I'm saying, yeah. So good things to come for this team. Kevin McGuff has a lot of talent coming back, but they're not done yet. They're going to the NCAA tournament as well. I predict they'll maybe be a 5 or 6 seed. I might be a little off there, but yeah, impressive stuff. Kelsey Mitchell scored 29 in the Iowa game, 31 in the championship game. Alexa Hart had a career high against Iowa with 24, if memory serves. But yeah, so they finish Regular season and Big Ten postseason play, 23-10. And they're ranked 23rd in the latest poll, so moving up in the world. The women will wait to hear where they'll end up. Bracketologically, Selection Sunday this coming March 15th, so we'll see what's in store for them as the postseason continues.
Yeah, everyone's anxiously awaiting to hear about that. But as far as the men go, this past week the men took on Penn State and actually ended up winning that game 77-67, despite trailing at halftime by 1 point. Andrew, what did they have to do to kind of secure this victory and pull away in the second half?
Shouldn't be in that situation, playing inconsistent basketball to start off with, but they did end up out-rebounding Penn State on the game. Had more assists. We talked about that against Nebraska and Purdue. When they win that battle, they end up tending to figure things out. They shot better than 50% in the second half. That's obviously great. And then you toss in 5 D'Angelo Russell three-pointers.
Doesn't hurt, right?
Yeah, it's always a feather in your cap when you have that to turn to. So, they handled business at Penn State, their final conference road game of the season. But as you're well aware, there was more in store for the team.
There was more in store. On Sunday, hosting number 6 Badgers, who they already capped off their regular season title by winning at Minnesota Thursday night. It was senior day for the Buckeyes, but they ended up getting dominated and lost by 24. Andrew, take us through this game. What happened here?
No doubt. Yeah, I mean, we had talked about this sort of recurring theme, their second half team.
Yeah.
They allow themselves to get into a little bit of a hole. It happened at Michigan. And they ended up losing that game, but my point is, you trail 20 in the Chrysler Center and you make that just a 7-point game. That's the mold that this team has sort of cast for itself. And unfortunately, against a good team like Wisconsin, it was too little too late when they tried to mount a comeback.
Yeah.
So sophomore guard, Bronson Koenig, beyond Frank Kaminsky, star center. He's 7 foot tall, leads the team in this game with 20 points. But Koenig, 6 of 11 from the field, 3 of 5 from behind the arc. The guy was automatic, and this team is so good at passing and setting up perimeter shooters.
They make it look effortless, don't they?
Absolutely. Wisconsin, very efficient team. Ohio State did close the deficit to 7 with 12 minutes left.
Yeah.
And we heard from Coach Thad Matta after the game about, okay, maybe we can get a run going here.
We cut it to 7, and they made some big time plays, some rebound putbacks, that sort of thing, and we just weren't able to sustain what we needed to in terms of offense. We had some good looks that didn't go down for us, and I told them when we cut it to 7, I'm like, all right, we're back. We got our team back. This is my team, and but they just sort of took it to another level with the execution.
I mean, it's clear that they have a great offense. Everybody on their team knows their system and they stick to it. So I mean, even when they miss shots, they find a way to get the rebounds and reset their offense and got it going again. So they know exactly what they want to do, and they run it to perfection, it seems like.
I mean, at least that if we were going to get knocked down, it wasn't going to be because we weren't out there diving for loose balls, playing hard, playing tough. Yeah, no, they didn't come in thinking anything other than we're playing a good team who's playing well now and one of the better players in the country. And, no, our guys knew the task at hand.
All right, well, we heard it there from Bo Ryan himself, giving D'Angelo Russell some praise. Andrew, we know the Big Ten tournament's coming up soon in Chicago. What can we expect from D'Angelo Russell? Obviously, other members of the team need to step up.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, it is a team sport. The games in which they've struggled, he might have a double-digit number of points, but everybody else not stepping up when he's the only guy having success on any given afternoon, that makes the job of game planning for Ohio State very easy. Yeah. So as they do head to Chicago as the 6th seed, they will get the winner of Minnesota taking on Rutgers, and that matchup will be a Wednesday evening affair, and then the Buckeyes will take on the winner Thursday.
We're going into a situation now where we're going into tournaments where you lose and you go home. And, as I told them, we'll figure out a lot about ourselves Thursday night and see how we show up.
And good teams need to play well in March. Thad Matta and the seniors are well aware of that.
Yeah.
To give up a 16-0 run, which is exactly what put the game away against Wisconsin. It just cannot happen.
Yeah, and I think consistency is key for this team. That's something they've struggled with, so the more the better of that, right?
Certainly, yeah. They need better play from the forwards, no doubt. Jayshawn Tate has been stepping up in a big way. They need more from McDonald and Williams in the post, but they've beaten Minnesota before, so it shouldn't be. They will be favored, obviously, provided that the Golden Gophers take care of Rutgers. But yeah, again, team effort and consistency. You nailed it.
Yeah, well, kind of switching gears, over the weekend, the ice hockey Buckeyes took on the number 15 ranked Minnesota Gophers in a 2-game Big Ten Conference series. Friday night, the Buckeyes succumbed to the Gophers 4-2, unfortunately. Despite tying the game twice, Ohio State was outshot by Minnesota 32-26. Senior Tanner Fritz and junior defenseman Craig Dalrymple were the sole contributors of the evening. Now, this was Dalrymple's first goal of the season, wasn't it?
It was indeed. Yeah. He got a good look on Friday evening, so his team was happy for him.
Yeah.
But he would have a good night on Saturday as well.
Little foreshadowing, right?
Absolutely.
And it's kind of rare to see a defenseman be putting up all these points.
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's certainly not common.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's unheard of, but we talked about Mike Riley, the defenseman for Minnesota. He leads in assists, and that's a little more common.
Yeah.
But again, nothing too out of the ordinary when you're passing the puck efficiently, especially in transition.
Yeah, well, moving on to Saturday's game, it was senior night for the Buckeyes as their 8 seniors were honored and suited up to play one last time at home. Ohio State scored the game's final 4 goals, including 3 in the third period. Once again, junior defenseman Craig Dalrymple had the game-winning goal, which was his second goal in 2 games, like we said.
Yeah, he did have an impressive showing, as I said, again Saturday night. Yeah. But the fact that you said game winning, and that is accurate, despite the 5-2 scoreline. Reason being, that was the one that gave them the lead for good. The remaining 2 goals, they were empty netters. Yeah. Minnesota was in desperation mode, and you see Anthony Greco and Tanner Fritz get a point there. They outdueled Minnesota in every phase of the game, really, on Saturday. One thing worth mentioning. Yeah. You remember how we talked about how good Minnesota was on the power play?
Oh, yeah.
0 for 4 on the weekend. So the Buckeyes able to kill the penalty.
Yeah, you know, that's a scary team on a power play when you're clicking at 30%. They got so many weapons, but I think our guys just decided that it doesn't matter. You got to go out and kill a penalty, and, you know, we took a penalty. Our guys were ready, jumped over the boards, and said, let's go get it done. So it's exciting to see, and you know, it comes with confidence, so it was pretty huge.
Interesting to see Ohio State deny the best power play team in the country.
Yeah, well, good for them. Next week, the Buckeyes take on Wisconsin for 2 games to close their regular season. Best of luck to them. And the tennis team suffered their first loss at home since 2003, 12 years after losing to number 1 Oklahoma. Andrew, what happened in this heartbreaking match? I know it was very close the entire time.
Certainly.
But can you take us through what happened?
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to have a home win streak end at 200, it might as well be to the number 1 team in the country.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So the Buckeyes ranked 8th. It was a back and forth match. They pulled ahead. They won their doubles stage to get the 1 point, and then Rolf Steinbach wins the number 4 singles match in straight sets. So they're up 2-0 out of a possible 7 points on the number 1 team in the country. Now the number 2 and number 5 singles spots, those were straight set victories for the Sooners. So all of a sudden, we're deadlocked again. 2-2. Number 1 singles, 78th ranked Mikhail Torpegaard. He rallies. He loses his first set. He wins the second and third 6-4, 6-4 for the win. But on court 3, Herko Palonen, he lost in 3 sets. So what does that mean? We have a 3-3 match, and it all comes down to the 7th and decisive point with Kevin Metka on court 6 going up against Oklahoma's Florin Berguzzi. What happens?
It's a lot of pressure.
No doubt. Unbelievable amount of pressure. He loses the first set 6-7 on a tiebreak. Wins the second set 7-6 on a tiebreak. And I'll give you one guess as to what happened in the third set.
Tiebreak.
You're absolutely correct. He loses 6-7 in an absolutely devastating loss. I said on Friday, I just want to give the guy a hug.
I know.
Because he rallied to the end, showed a lot of intensity and moxie. But Oklahoma showing why they're the number 1 team in the country. Yeah. So congratulations to them. But the men will head to Florida, Gainesville, to take on the Gators next. Also a quality program. So maybe they'll get back on the winning track.
Yeah, hopefully they can bounce back, no doubt. All right, well, I think that's going to do it for us this week. Thanks for watching. Be sure to go follow Chalk Talk on Twitter at ChalkTalkOSU, #CTOSU.
Yeah, give us a shout. We're always paying attention. We're always trying to think of new ways to engage the Buckeye fan base. But as Maddie said, that is going to do it for us this week. So I'm Andrew Todd Smith for Maddie Spillman. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.